Okay, folks, kitties, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on page 490. 490, 490. Find that page, guys. That's where we're going to be starting. You all there? Okay, here we go. I got to go up here to the top. 490. If you're not there, of course, you pause your video so that you catch up. Okay, interesting problem. I like this problem. Circle the group of coins that has the same total value. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this one in the box and which one of these is the same value as this one. Is it this one, this one, this one, or this one? A, B, C, or D. Which one is the same as this one? Now, there are two ways we could do that. Can you think of how you would do it? Well, the most obvious way is to count how much money that's worth. And then count this one. Is it the same? Count this one. Is it the same? Count this one. Count this one. And then find out which one is the same as that one. That's the most obvious way to do it. Okay, you know what obvious means? That's the way that you first think of. You want to know how much this is and which one's the same, so you have to count them. So that means you may have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different groups of coins you have to count. But there's another way you can do it. Can you think about changing coins? Remember we learned about changing coins yesterday? Remember this thing I said is pretty important. A quarter you can change into 2 dimes and a nickel. Or you can change 2 dimes and a nickel into a quarter, right? Well, that's what I'm going to think about. Look, these each have a quarter. So if I change some of this into a quarter, I can see if they look the same. What do we say is the same as a quarter? 2 dimes and a nickel. 10, 20, 25, 25. 2 dimes and a nickel. Look, 2 dimes and a nickel. I can change this into a quarter. Then what would I have? I'd have a dime and a quarter. A dime and a quarter. Is that a dime and a quarter? That's 2 dimes and a quarter. Is this a dime and a quarter? It's a dime and a quarter and a nickel. Is this a dime and a quarter? Ta-da! A dime and a quarter. A dime and a quarter. I did not have to count how much it was worth. I found it already. This is a nickel and a quarter. We want a dime and a quarter. You see how we did that? Without counting the money, we just changed the 2 dimes and a nickel into a quarter. Let's see if we're right now. Here we go. Dimes and a nickel. Dimes are what? Tens. 10, 20, 30, and a nickel, 35. Now we got to find which one's 35. A quarter, 25. Now a dime. A dime is a 10. Remember, how do you add a 10 to 25? You change the 2 to a 3. 35, 45. No good. We want 35. Quarter, 25. And a dime. We just said 35. But now we got a nickel. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. No good. A quarter, 25. And a dime. You just add a 10. 35. Deep. Quarter, 25. And a nickel. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. See, we were right. We found the right one. We did it by changing the coins instead of counting them. We exchanged coins, they say too. Okay, moving on down. Some of you might remember how to do this. Write the number 31 in tens and ones. So you would think it's 3 tens and 1 1, but they put 2 tens. So why did they put 2 tens? They took away one of the tens. If you take away one of the tens, you have to turn it into what? 10 ones. It's like they borrowed a 10 and turned it into 10 ones. What's 1 1 and 10 ones would be what? 11 ones. 2 tens, 11 ones. They're regrouping is what they're doing. They took 3 tens and 1 1, and they changed it into 2 tens and 11 ones. It's like borrowing, right? Make this a 2 and then an 11. That's how we call borrowing. They call regrouping, right? 2 tens, 11 ones. How about this one? Again, write 13 tens as hundreds and tens. Well, 13 tens. So this time they took 10 tens. They took 10 of the tens. That's 10 tens and that's 3 tens. You got 10 tens. What is 10 tens? 10 tens is 100. You take the 10 tens, you make 100, and then you have 3 tens left over. 3 tens left over. You take the 10 tens and make 100, and 3 tens to make tens. Of course, it says 100s. It should say 100. We fixed it up. They did it wrong. So 13 tens is the same as 100 and 3 tens, because you took 10 of the tens and made 100. Con 10 decenas tú puedes hacer una centena. Este dice 13 decenas es el mismo como una centena y 3 decenas, porque 10 decenas se puede hacer una centena. What is the value of the underlying digit? What is the value of the underlying digit? Well, it's 8. Is this 8 ones or 8 tens? If it was 8 tens, it would be 80. But it's just 8 ones, so the value is just 8, not 80. 80 would be if the 8 were there. Y si el 8 está allá, son 8 decenas, 80. Pero aquí, nomás 8 unidades. 8. This is crazy. They told you what to do. Brutos, brutos. No lo... ¿Por qué no dice qué tenemos que hacer? Bailey's softball team scored 5 runs in the first inning and 6 runs in the second inning. How many runs did her team score? Well, if they scored 5 in one inning and 6 in another inning, that means you have to add to find out their score. 5 and 6 is what? 11. I don't like that they tell you what to do. You have to learn to read a problem and think, do I add, do I subtract, do I multiply, do I divide? Those are what you're going to be doing in 3rd grade. Or maybe it's the kind of problems with the rows and the columns, in which case you don't want to add those numbers, right? Anyway, this one you do want to add, but they told you. They should not be telling you. It's like they're giving you the answer. Anyway, you should be able to read this and come up without them telling you. They spoiled it. Okay, let's see what we do. Have children, in the first box, have children draw 8 nickels and then to count to find the total value. In the second box, have children draw 8 dimes and then count to find the total. I don't know. What's the point in that? Okay. They said draw 8 nickels, so we're going to do that. I'm going to do 4 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the bottom, we're going to do 8 dimes. 1. It's easier to put the letter first and then the circle. 4 dimes on the top and 4 on the bottom. You could do a 5 and a 3 because we know 5 and 3 is 8 also, right? A hand and 3 fingers. That's the other way you could do it. But this looks more even. Now, are they the same value? No, they're not the same value. Oh, you didn't even see me. Look, okay, I got to do this over. Look, I did my 8 nickels. Do your 8 nickels. I did 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. Then I did my 8 dimes. 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. Okay? Now, while you're doing that, because I didn't give you a chance before, is this the same as this? No. Which one is worth more? These are smaller, but they're worth more because dimes are worth more than nickels. In fact, 1 dime is the same as 2 nickels, right? You'd rather have 8 dimes than 8 nickels. If you got 8 dimes, you got more money than 8 nickels. You can buy more stuff. with 8 dimes than you can with 8 nickels. How much is a nickel worth? By the way, this is a nickel. Monticello, Thomas Jefferson. That was his home he built. There he is, Thomas Jefferson. Anyway, they're worth 5 cents each. So when we count nickels, Jocelyn, we count by fives. That you should know how to do. We did it through much of second grade, and you should have been doing it in first grade too, I'm sure. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. By the way, when you write them, you should be saying them so you learn how to count. Jocelyn, I don't know why you still don't know how to count fives. 5 por 5. 5 días, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Now, how about dimes? How about dimes? Dimes are worth 10 cents each. These are the dimes. They look smaller. This guy was alive just before I was born. He died about 5 years before I was born, or 6 or 7. He died before I was born. But these guys lived way before me, and that's why they have different kind of hair. They have long hair. They didn't cut their hair so much back then. Okay, anyway, dimes are worth 10, so let's count our dimes. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Of course, dimes are easy. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but with zeros. 60, 70, 80 cents. We forgot to put our money. 80 cents. What was the nickels? 40 cents. We can say the nickels are half the dimes. Or we can say the dimes are double the nickels. Wait, let me show you again. We can say that the nickels are half the dimes. 40 is half of 80. Or we could say 80 is double 40. Double 40 means 40 and 40. That's double 40. 2 40s, 80. Because each dime is worth 2 nickels. How many pennies have the same value as 80 cents? 80 pennies. If we did pennies, we would need 80 pennies. We'd have to draw 80 pennies to get 80 cents. Boy, that would be forever. Or 40 pennies to get 40 cents. Okay, that's it for today. We're continuing to work with money. Are we working with money tomorrow? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of pennies there. That must be $1. I bet you that's like 100 pennies. $1 has the same value as 100 cents, 100 pennies. There's $1. So we're going to start working with dollars tomorrow. That's cool. Dollars coming up tomorrow in our class. Dollars. And that's a $1 bill. Who's that guy on the $1 bill? George Washington. That's George Washington. Who was George Washington? He was the first president. He obviously lived a long time ago. More than 200 years ago, he lived. Yep. Anyway, he was our first president. So we'll get to that tomorrow. Until then, guys, take it easy. Don't spend all your money in one place.